So joining me now is Susan Cammons. Susan is our VP of Customer Success, and I'm going to pass over the controls to her, and she's going to run us through a couple of the use cases from a user's perspective, from like the management of the lender, the borrower, and maybe some third-party validations, and then look at reports and dashboards and alerts. Susan, are you ready for me to transfer?
I am.
Okay.
And here we go. All right. So this is the sample of a loan manager's dashboard. This might belong to the loan forgiveness team, or you might have multiple individuals working with different accounts. We call this a portfolio, which is really just the businesses, the loans that you're monitoring, organized into lists based on the criteria you set. This one's very simple. It's just accounts 1, 2, and 3, but you could break these up by the size of the loan manager, the jurisdiction. It's completely flexible. And you can have multiple portfolios like this. So if you have different team of people working on this, they can each have their own dashboard view. So what you're seeing here at a glance are red and green results, and these are real-time results about the status of these companies in their forgiveness process. Over here, you see kind of a feed of recent events that are associated with those companies. And in this case, events are submissions of documents they've made, applications they've submitted, reviews that have been performed, and that kind of thing. So here you can see in eligible accounts 1 that we have 2 companies that aren't ready. They haven't submitted all of their documentation. And then our sample retail business, which is green and good to go. So let's take a look at that. Here's our sample retail business. We call this a company profile. Here you can see just a little general information and some links about the company. And then here an event timeline. And each of these boxes represents an event, which in this case are document submissions, reviews, and general things like this. Now, this particular company was a customer previously, so they have some other events in their timeline, submissions they made when they first became an account, background checks that were performed, and then finally here, events when they decided to apply for a paycheck protection loan. Now, they may have filled out these applications offline, but at this point they've been uploaded so that all of this documentation is in one place. So this event, you can look into it to review it in more detail. You can view attached documents, such as this sample application. And those documents can be stored in your document repository on Trust Exchange, or you can choose to have those documents stored elsewhere and just link out to them. These events allow you to set permissions. So this one's shared with the company that's submitting it, and in this case, me, but it could be shared with the bank's review group or whomever, and you can grant viewing or editing permissions. So it's very flexible. In this case, this business has submitted their application for forgiveness, and then each of these are items that require documentation that they can use their paycheck protection loan for and have it be forgiven. So just to give you a look at these forms, and these, by the way, are also customizable, but we've built these from the SBA's information about what they need for forgiveness at this stage. And as we know, that is something that may be changing. So these can be modified and customized for a specific financial institution's requirements. But here you can see this is a form. They can put some details in about what they're submitting, and then they can upload and attach documents that are required. Once all of these have been submitted, they can be reviewed in a checklist. And these are a lot of checklists that are applied to this business because they've been a customer for a while. They've had background checks. They've had all kinds of reviews and a risk assessment. They're all green and good to go. And then down here is the checklist of the loan forgiveness items that they've submitted. And they're also green for this. And that's why they're green in our dashboard, because they put all this in and they're good to go. Now this account in this particular example is submitted all of their information, and then a third-party consultant has come in to do a review. So they've gone through and reviewed all of the documentation in this timeline, and they'll go through and check it all off and make sure it's all good, put in any comments. And this could be internal, or this could be a third-party reviewer. And once all of this has been completed and it's good to go, then they will be green and all of their information can be submitted, and they should be completely eligible for forgiveness. So this is the profile in just a general view, but I'd like to go a little deeper and show you some of the views that various parties have. So here again is the bank's management team's view, or one of them. You could have multiple. And it's an overview dashboard where you see that this business is green, good to go. The account themselves, the retail business, also has a dashboard, but it's very simple. It just contains their company, and it allows them to monitor their own progress and receive alerts about whether they've met their requirements. And this is a way they can manage their workflow. Also, if you need to make additional information requests or otherwise support them, they can receive alerts about those communications. In this case, there's also a third party that this financial institution is using to review all of these applications. And so they'll receive alerts when the retail business has submitted the required items, and they can go in and perform their review. And once their review is completed, the business will be green and good to go if they've done everything correctly, and bank staff can get alerts if desired that that business has been reviewed and approved. I keep mentioning alerts, so let me show you those. Each party's alerts will queue up here under this bell icon, and they also are swept up every 24 hours and posted out first thing in the morning in a daily email digest of all of the alerts from the preceding 24 hours. And those alerts don't contain any actual information, just a notification that something's occurred, and then you can link directly in from the email if you're logged in and view what's happening in more detail. Now, the sharing of these items takes place in 3 places. You can share entire portfolios here. You can share the items in a timeline, these events. And then documents, sensitive documents can have separate permissions associated with them. They can be shared with groups. It makes it very easy for this to be a collaborative process. Files can be stored here, or again, as I mentioned, you can just put a link and link out to those files. Now, if you are a business making these submissions, it's quite easy. All of these items that are needed for your submission can be preloaded, and you can just click on them, fill them in, and attach them, such as the application that can be right here loaded up for you, so you can fill it in and then attach it and submit it as an event. There's also some reports available. Let me show you a quick example. Make it very easy to take a look at what's been submitted. So let's look for the, make sure who has actually submitted their application. And maybe we'll look for one other thing. Let's see who submitted their staffing information as well. So if we look at this, we can see a nice summary of what's been submitted, and we can see that these two businesses haven't submitted anything at all. You can get reports on current status and roll-up metrics for an entire portfolio. It's quite flexible, and I'd be happy to go into that in more detail for anyone who would like to hear more about that. That's a general overview. We can look for any questions. Do we have any coming in, Ed?
Yeah, so I guess a question about implementation time. How long would it take to get this up and running?
Very quickly. It's a collaborative process, so it depends on your timeline as well. But we can have you up in a matter of days or maybe a week at most. You need to submit your loans to us so we can get those uploaded. And then we can do a training. Training is, a couple of hours at most. This is a really very easy to use. And we can train and support your customers, or we can work with you so that you can do that yourselves. That's really your choice.
So a question about the platform, the dashboard hierarchy. Is there a way to create it so that there's, the head of the loan forgiveness program, and maybe they have it divided up by loan size? This person handles loans over $1 million, this one's under $1 million, this one's over 100,000, et cetera.
Absolutely. These lists could actually be those groupings, and this could be your master dashboard. And you could, let's say we call this one loans over, well, how about 100K? Just to make it simple. So let's say these are, or you might have, your loans managed by, Jim, whatever it is. Now you have Jim who manages loans over 100,000. And you can do this, by the way, I'm doing this in a demo, but this is something that you have access to, this kind of capability. You could do this yourself and make these changes on the fly if you wanted to. So we'll copy this one over to Jim's portfolio. Now, effectively, when Jim logs in, Jim will see this, only the loans that he is responsible for. And he could have more than one list and manage his workflow. He could have a list that's looking to see if these customers have submitted their information. And then he could have his list where he's reviewing things. He could have his list where he needs more information. But he'll just see his area of responsibility, whereas you as the overall manager will see his list and Jane's list and Sally's list, et cetera, or whatever organization you'd like to have. It's really quite flexible. And all the things I just did, you can do.
Okay. So another question is about the training. You mentioned training. How long does that take?
Just 2 to 3 hours. So with a break in the middle. It's okay. Once we configure you, you'll be set up, and it's really quite straightforward to get started.
Okay.
And we can also provide training for your customers. We probably want to do that with webinars so they can, log in and at specific times and receive training. And that would only
So
require a very short time.
what about customer support and technical support?
We'll provide that. We're here. And really, that's your choice. You can field those questions and pass them on to us, or your customers can go right to our help center and submit tickets, and we'll handle those directly. Either
Okay.
way.
So there doesn't seem to be any more questions. Susan, thank you for the demo. If there are any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm going to take over the presenter stuff. Okay. Thank you again. If anyone is interested in getting a copy of the presentation, we're going to put it live on the website. We're also going to include a video of the presentation and a video of the demonstration. And then if anyone else, if anyone's interested, you could contact me at esullivan@trustexchange.com, and I can make sure that we get you moving along. So thank you very much, everybody, for attending the webinar. Have a good day, and hopefully that everyone you know is safe and healthy. Take care.